races on man. Limitations are a fact. Blow me down from this pedestal. Younger me has been ready. I'm shedding flakes of gold. These layers of stars on me. I've gone from rough to soft. Oh, how could this be?
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, truer words have never been said. It does not matter who the host is. Anyways, today is Monday, April the 11th of 2022, day 101 of the year, and only 264 days left to go. Yeah, that's what you got. 264 days to do the great stuff that you're going to get to accomplish this year. Only 264 of those. Anyways, I hope everything is fantastic wherever the hell you're hanging out this morning, this afternoon, this time that you're taking a listen that we are getting to spend together, because that's always important. You know, the timing is everything, but we'll talk a little bit more about that. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place as well.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Yes, we are hanging out with our friends. It's RadioBig.fm as well. So there you go, a lot of stuff. So depending on how you are taking a gander look, listen, however, we are a radio station first, and then we do everything else as second, is really the way that it goes. So if you are not hanging out on our TuneIn Radio app for Radio Big, well, I'm going to give you a little bit of some of the features. If you have to pause it or if you have to rewind it because you're listening to it in real time, this can all be done. So that's kind of some of the fun stuff there. So you can rewind it, pause it, fast forward, go back. We can't fast forward after, you pause it for a little bit. I mean, I guess you could, but you can't fast forward it past the real-time stuff. I guess that can get confusing for some. But anyways, let's start talking right away about what is going on inside of the world of the trends, because that's going to be important for you. It's going to be important for me. So let's talk about it together. Anyway, Saturday was National Unicorn Day, which I didn't even know that was a thing to celebrate, but I guess it is now. Twitter users reacted to the news of player Dwayne Haskins passing away on Saturday. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. Justice for Johnny Depp was trending over the weekend ahead of his upcoming trial against ex-actress Amber Heard. We'll talk a little bit more about that as well. I wonder if he'll get a good spin on Twitter now. Oh, that's something else. Anyway, Sunday was National Siblings Day. Twitter users celebrated with photos of being their beloved brothers and sisters. Some even counted their pets as siblings. Hold on, my sister didn't post anything. Am I not a beloved sibling? Jeez, man, where's the love? Anyways, Palm Sunday was yesterday, the Christian holiday that marks the beginning of the Holy Week. Oh, yes, we are in Holy Week because I guess Sunday is Easter. That's, that holiday, Easter coming up here right away. Normally on this day, what do we talk about? We normally talk about what's going on inside of the world of what was trending, but we also talk right away about what was going on with the charts. So do you want to talk about the box office right now, or do you want to do something else? Let's just talk about the box office and get it over with. At number 10 was Sing with Part 2 with $220,000, and number 9 was Selena with $402,000. That was a re-release, just in case if you're wondering. Spider-Man No Way Home, $625,000 at number 8. Was that for the people that didn't know that it's already available on digital? Maybe that's the case. I don't know. At number 7 was Uncharted with $2.6 million. At number 6 was Everything Everywhere All at Once, $6 million. At number 5 was The Batman with $6.5 million. At number 4 was Ambulance with $8.7 million. The Lost City, $9.1 million. At number 2 was Morbius, and not to be confused with Morpheus, $10.2 million. $10.2 million? Holy crap. Hold on, because the next one just knocked it out of the park. I didn't think it was going to be that popular, but I guess I was heavily wrong. Sonic the Hedgehog Part 2, $71 million. And I did say million. Yeah, $71 million. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on there. So what do you have in mind today? I'll tell you what I have in mind. You tell me what you have in mind, and then we will make some kind of a smooth move to some of this. If you want to interact with the show, this is the best way to do it. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That is callinradio.com. That will get you put right into our little system here. You can do the messaging, you can do the voicemail, you can do the video chat. Anything you want to do, we can do together. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get directly onto the air, but it gives you the opportunity of doing so. So that is callinradio.com. Callinradio.com. I always wonder if I should just put that on the screen. Call in now at Call In Radio. Maybe that will be easier for some, because I think sometimes the scroller throws people off, because if you're not scrolling and viewing, you can't see it. So Call In Radio if you're on the radio, or if you're doing anything here, hanging out, and if you want to interact. It's just a lot easier than trying to do the comments and reactions inside of the box, because sometimes I don't see them, just so you know. Did I get it? Was that a little much? I felt like it was a little much. So anyways, I think it's time for us to get into this whole thing that we do that is known as the news. So let me explain this to you on how the best way we can do this. This way it kind of simplifies some of the process. If you're new around here, we talk about safety and we talk about news. We talk about news and safety. So you can come back, take a listen to what is going on. We bring in some professional broadcasters that know what the hell they're supposedly doing. And then we kind of move forward and go from there. So professional broadcasters will talk about the news, and then I will package it all up in what I am thinking, and then we go from there. What a thought process, right? We call that the Rated R Safety Show. So let's get moving with what is going on right now with the news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. The first sit-down meeting between Russia's president and a European leader is happening today. Austrian Chancellor Karl Nehammer has spoken out against the war in Ukraine, demanding a ceasefire and investigation of war crimes. He tweeted, Vladimir Putin has to stop. Austria is a neutral state and not a member of NATO, but it's joined the European Union sanctions against Russia. The chancellor met with Ukraine's president over the weekend. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says the U.S. is working around the clock to get weapons delivered to Ukraine. Appearing on NBC's Meet the Press, Sullivan responded to criticism from Ukraine's foreign minister that defensive aid was not arriving fast enough.
Weapons are arriving every day, including today.
Sullivan noted the U.S. was also coordinating the weapons deliveries of other countries as well. When asked to respond to the Ukrainian foreign minister's claim that the U.S. no longer saw a distinction between offensive and defensive weapons, Sullivan declined a direct answer. However, he did say the U.S. and many other NATO countries were at a point where the question was, what does Ukraine need and how can we provide it to them? Twitter isn't getting a new board member after all. Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk turned down a seat after becoming the largest shareholder when he bought 9% of the company. Twitter CEO isn't saying if Musk revealed why he changed his mind. The White House chief medical advisor is reminding Americans that COVID-19 is here to stay. Appearing on ABC's This Week, Dr. Anthony Fauci said we're now at the stage where it's up to individuals to decide the amount of risk they're willing to take when it comes to getting infected.
That there will be a level of infection. This is not going to be eradicated, and it's not going to be eliminated.
He urged everyone to get vaccinated and boosted, but noted the risk would never be zero. This comes as nearly 70 people tested positive for COVID following the annual Gridiron Dinner in D.C. last week. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Chris Jones. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky claims that Russian forces have destroyed 300 hospitals and 938 schools. Austrian Chancellor Karl Nehammer is in Moscow to talk to Russian President Vladimir Putin, the first European leader since the invasion. US President Joe Biden will meet Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi virtually on Monday, and the UK's Chancellor has requested a review into his own declarations amid a row over his and his wife's taxes.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
Egg prices are skyrocketing just ahead of Easter and Passover as bird flu continues to spread. Brian Ernest, an economist for CoBank, says there's a real risk of shortages.
There's a real risk that we'll see some bare shelves this year for Easter eggs. And when we look at the supply of eggs available, we're seeing about 25 million fewer eggs for weekly supply.
The virus has hit commercial poultry in at least 24 states, according to the USDA, leading to the destruction of millions of birds, including egg-laying hens. 2 police officers in Buffalo, New York, have been cleared of any wrongdoing for pushing a 75-year-old protester to the ground. Trey Thomas reports.
The officers were part of a police line clearing protesters from City Hall during a Black Lives Matter protest in June 2020. Video shows them appearing to shove a 75-year-old man who loses his balance and falls to the sidewalk, cracking his head on the pavement. A court ruled on Friday that the man was not an innocent bystander and that there was no evidence the officers deliberately tried to hurt him.
More economists are anticipating that a more aggressive tightening of monetary policy will push the economy into a recession. Mike Bauer reports.
And that achieving a soft landing is never easy, but it's even more difficult in the current environment.
That's from the chief U.S. economist at Deutsche Bank, the first big bank to forecast a U.S. recession last week. That forecast is driven by red-hot inflation, with consumer prices rising at the fastest pace in 40 years. Hopes that inflation would rapidly cool off have been dashed in part because of the war in Ukraine. Deutsche Bank pointed out how energy and food commodity prices have spiked since Russia invaded Ukraine. The Deutsche Bank economists say the Fed can't just tap on the brakes for the economy. It needs to really slow the economy down, and that will lead to a recession.
Stock futures are lower as Wall Street seeks to rebound from a losing week. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, Time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No.
Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat. Cool. Very cool. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Well, you might be like me and heard all these terms and were not 100% sure on what they meant. Things is mining, blockchain, the Internet of Things. Well, I will tell you, we here at Safety FM have partnered up with a company that will explain this to you and will also have conversations to inform you on how you might have the potential of making passive income by being involved with this. All you need to do is go to safetyfm.com/iHub. They'll discuss blockchain. What exactly is mining? What is cryptocurrency? And what is the Internet of Things? To find out more information, go to safetyfm.com/iHub. That's safetyfm.com/iHub. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
He's the man. It's awesome, funny, random, doesn't make any sense, but it's good.
Jay Allen in the morning on Radio Big.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, magic is not the word that comes to mind when we start talking. That is for sure. Anyway, so a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the news. Always glad when other people come out and help in regards to what the hell's going on. So there you go. Anyway, so let's get moving and grooving right away as we are 17 minutes past the top of the hour. And we got very short period of time to get you further down the path that we need to talk about. Anyways, the Washington Post, owned by the aspiring Bond villain Jeff Bezos, isn't happy about Elon Musk's recent purchase of Twitter stock that makes him a 10% shareholder, or 9.2%, the largest single investor in the company. One headline obviously declares that Elon Musk's vision of free speech will be bad for Twitter. Worth noting, the headline puts free speech in quotes, a tactic acknowledgement that there was absolutely free speech, and the diet free speech trumpeted the leftist activists, and that only covers their thoughts and ideas that they approve. The writer of the piece then worries about the need of regulation of social media platforms to prevent rich people from controlling our channels of communication. In other words, it's cool for my billionaire boss to buy the newspaper to disparage his rivals and control the channels of communication, but it's real nightmare when another billionaire buys a social media platform to liberate channels of communication from political fueled censorship. Okay, that seems like a lot of stuff. What else do we have inside of there? Musk continues to have fun with his new role. He tweeted a poll over the weekend asking if Twitter should convert its San Francisco headquarters into a homeless shelter since no one shows up anywhere. More than 90% of the 1.5 million respondents said yes. So there you go. I don't know. Seems like he's having some fun with it, even though he has now said that he is turning down the board position. But I guess if you could poke the bear a little bit, it's always fun to do some of that stuff. Because, hey, why not do it when you have the opportunity to do so? Anyway, Spanish officials say that they are investigating a man who is believed to have a collection of thousands of stuffed animals in a taxidermy collection worth millions. More than 400 of its specimens are protected. One of the North African ox is already believed to be extinct. And there was a stash of two warehouses spanning more than 50,000 square feet, with the Associated Press reports. The owner of the collection is facing charges for trafficking environmental crimes. So let me just ask the question there, because I want to make sure that I'm clear. Not in the that total bridge clear kind of format, but in the clear format of, so if he got the animals, did he kill the animals or somebody else, and how does that looked upon? Because there's a lot of questions to be asked there, opposed to just going, this is good and that is it, and we are moving forward. I mean, I think that there's some questions to be asked, opposed to assumptions to be made. So there you go. There's that. Anyways, if you are feeling particularly forgetful lately, you're not alone. A Wall Street Journal reports covers the recent phenomenon of masses unable to retain short-term information more than ever. We talked to a neuroscientist who compared the situation to computers with so many tabs open. This slows down our processing power, and the memory is one of the areas that falters. Memory beyond the many distractions in the day-to-day life. There's also a pandemic hangover and war news out of Ukraine to give an extra grief. So let's talk about that. So if you have too many tabs that are open, you seem to be more forgetful because you're lagging. So are we now taking computers and comparing them to people? Are we comparing computers? Are we comparing people to computers? Because I believe that if that's the case now, that this is how we're acknowledging some of these things, we have a whole conversation that we can cover about people and computers and how all that stuff should tie in. And I'm not joking as I say that. There's a lot that comes to mind. Anyways, the state of Utah is approaching a tragic milestone. The state is in pace for a record number of pedestrian deaths from car accidents. As of March alone, 11 people were killed after getting hit by a vehicle. Year to date, there has been over 20 deaths, twice the number that occurred back in 2019. I don't think that that's really a record that most people want to talk about in regards to that. I mean, I at one point was living in a state that had the most pedestrian accidents, just because of what's located here, because people get confused relatively easy. Anyways, let's continue talking. I think it is time right now to bring in John Smalls and let him tell us about the market beat.
Here's your market beat minute for Monday, April 11th, 2022. Equities tumbled last week on growing fears of overly aggressive interest rate hikes from the FOMC. The minutes from the last meeting reveal the committee is looking at a series of large interest rate hikes as well as the beginning of the balance sheet runoff. The CME's FedWatch tool is pricing in 3 consecutive 50 basis point hikes with a chance of 10 more 25 basis point bumps this year. At this pace, interest rates will be well above their pre-pandemic level, and their effect will be felt throughout the economy. The risk for the market this week is twofold. On one hand, we'll be getting both the CPI and the PPI data for March. On the other, the peak of earnings season begins with reports from the big banks, and they're expected to see earnings decline versus last year. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that one. I wonder if Wall Street's brightest minds actually are on Wall Street, or if they're located somewhere else. And then would it be referenced as they are the brightest minds that are not on Wall Street but are involved with Wall Street? I mean, I think there's a lot of questions to be asked when that comment is definitely made. Something to think about for sure. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of this lovely of ours. A Cincinnati man is out tens of thousands of dollars after thieves walked off with his expensive sneaker collection he kept in a storage unit. The victims sold the kicks online as his main source of income, and was sitting on an inventory roughly of 300 pairs that he estimated worth about $100,000. There are security camera footages of the heist, but nothing particularly helpful to catch the culprits. I mean, I'm sorry to ask this question. Was there insurance? I mean, business insurance? You had a business, you were protecting a product, that kind of stuff. Not asking for a friend, asking for myself, because I really just want to have a better understanding on what's going on. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on here. Because Johnny Smalls was just in here, let's talk about this real quick. Economists say a recession is coming, unsure when. Economists are predicting that the U.S. a recession, but can't agree on when and how bad. I think Mike Bowers has some more info.
Deutsche Bank cautioned there is a considerable uncertainty around the exact timing and size of the recession, but it's now calling for the U.S. economy to shrink during the final quarter of 2023 and the first quarter of 2024. The good news is Deutsche Bank is not forecasting a deep and painful recession like the past two downturns. Others, however, are not so optimistic. There's at least a 1 in 3 chance of a recession in the next 12 months, according to Moody's Analytics chief economist. And for Goldman Sachs, they say recession chances have climbed to as high as 35%. I'm Mike Bauer.
Okay, not the most prominent best news you want to hear, but something that you want to know about in case if it does happen. So there you go. That's what we talk about predicting. Anyways, Mayor Adams is working remotely after testing positive for COVID. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is working from home after testing positive for coronavirus. Kat Pringle has more information.
Officials for Adams say the mayor woke up yesterday with a raspy voice and then tested positive for coronavirus. This is his only symptom. Adams started taking antiviral medications that the city offers to residents for free. He canceled all his in-person appearances for the week, but may attend some remotely. The mayor was at a dinner in Washington, D.C. on April 2nd. Dozens of people at that dinner have tested positive for coronavirus. Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thanks, Scott Pringle, for that one. So anyways, this is a week that most people end up doing taxes, just in case. So if you are getting ready for the taxes and haven't done so, let's talk about this. Child tax credit bigger for 2021. The child care tax credit is a lot bigger for 2021. CPA Jonathan Dunnenfield says that the amount of qualifying for child care expenses parents can claim went up.
The amount of qualifying child care expenses parents can claim went up from $3,000 to $8,000 for one qualifying person. It also went up from $6,000 to $16,000 for 2 or more qualifying individuals. And the adjusted gross income threshold for the start of the reduction of the benefit, that's also increased from $15,000 to $125,000. This all could result in thousands of dollars more in a tax credit. CPA Jonathan Dunnenfeld explains what qualifies as child care.
So it has to be either like a daycare, okay, a legal daycare and you have to give the daycare's name, address, and EIN, or a nanny or provider that you're paying. You're supposed to pay child care, a household employee. You're supposed to give them a W-2. You can put their name, address, and Social Security down. If you send your kids to camp, that could potentially qualify.
He says both parents must be working in order to receive the credit. Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio.
Okay, the amount that parents can claim for 2 or more qualifying individuals also went up by $6,000 to $16,000. The adjusted gross income threshold for the start of the reduction of the benefit increased from $15,000 to $125,000. Nanny daycares, even potentially camps, could all count as part of the dependent care credit. Both parents that's the key there. Both parents have to be working for it to be able to work. So I'm not a CPA, but as you can hear, Jonathan definitely is. But I would still, consult your CPA before moving forward with any of the nonsense that we say around here, because you never know. You never know. You definitely never know. That is for sure in regards of what is going on. So think about that. Talk about that. And make sure that you have the correct info before you're doing anything, because, what do we know?
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, so let's talk about some ugly things. Other things, not ugly things. Victims in a deadly Magnus shooting identified. Police in Magna are still searching for the suspects in a shooting that left a man dead in a car. John Dorman says that he saw the deadly situation develop on Friday afternoon in the Colony Farms apartment complex.
It looked like they were just kind of horsing around, like they were just kind of getting their fists up, and I'm just like, okay, but they didn't actually hit each other, so I'm like, okay, these guys are just messing around.
Okay, Dorman says the two men rushed to their cars and that they heard about 10 gunshots. Police have identified the victim as 20-year-old Fernando Ruesga. Investigators have not identified the suspect and saying that only thing they know is that he's been seeing the scene at a high rate of speed. I don't think that that's a lot to go off of. Just something to think about as we are talking. Anyways, let's talk about this real quick. COVID Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth COVID left her very tired and exhausted. Let's take a listen to this. Queen Elizabeth is describing her recent bout with COVID-19.
And it does leave one very tired and exhausted, doesn't it? This horrible pandemic.
The 95-year-old monarch shared that during her virtual hospital visit with former coronavirus patient whose father and brother died of COVID. Buckingham Palace reported in February that the Queen was infected by the virus and was having mild cold-like symptoms. Her call to the Royal London Hospital last week marked the official opening of its Queen's Elizabeth unit, which was created to treat patients in 155 beds unit that was built in 5 weeks instead of the normal construction time of 5 months. How the hell do you turn that around? I mean, I'd like to know that. Can we get some construction done that's a little bit quicker than the traditional? Maybe that's part of the gig to talk about. Maybe that's something to ponder. Maybe that's something to go through. Anyways, it is far enough away, or it is far enough in, or it is far enough something. I'm not even sure what it is anymore. Let's get to our main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So, we talk a little bit about everything. We talk a little bit about what is going on inside of organizations. We talk about what is happening inside of organizations. We talk about what is not happening inside of organizations. We talk about you. We talk about me. We talk about everything that we tend to take a look at. And then we try to tie it all up together for it to make some kind of rhyme or reason of what is going on. And then sometimes it just doesn't make sense when we're talking about it. So let's talk about it all together. So that way we can go, what, does this make sense today or not? That's the fun part. So if you did take a look, if you did take a gander here of what was going on this morning, you probably realized right away that we were talking, we were moving, and we decided that we were going to talk about how important timing is, how important timing can always be. So in talking about timing, let's talk about the timing of this show and what we have going on, because I think that this is going to be important. Opposed to it just leaving it and not talking about this, I think sometimes we tend to forget that we can have an idea, we can have this thing that we want to do, but our timing is quite terrible. And yes, I did say terrible, like real terrible, not like kind of I think it's terrible. I'm talking about like awful. I mean, think about it real quick. Think about some of the times where you wanted to do something and you opted not to do it at that point. And you said, okay, we're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it for a little bit later. We're gonna leave it for something else. And you realize that was your one opportunity to getting something done. But we can also take the backwards sequence of the whole thing at the same time too. There are some other events in life that you have to wait for the proper time to occur. Now, listen, I will tell you, if I'm being 100% honest, which we normally are on this show, I am a very impatient person when it comes to certain things. I like to get moving and grooving, and we get moving and we make it to where we need to go, opposed to waiting back and waiting for that perfect moment in time. So I understand the struggle of wanting to move forward and not it being the correct time to do so. I will tell you, I have been able to interact with people throughout the years and had some ideas that I said, hey, I think that if we do this, this can help out your business, or this can help out what you have going on. And sometimes people are like, that's way too much for me, and go, this is not something that I am willing to do at the moment. And I get it. Some people are just not in that portion where they're like, hey, this is something that I want to do. And my brain doesn't function. I mean, even though I get it at the moment of what they're saying, I go, how can you not see this the way that I do? So not to sit back and talk too much about one thing or the other, but pre-pandemic, we were already building out a lot of virtual stuff inside of here. We were building out tons of virtual things for people to be able to do virtual whatever inside of this world that we hang out in. And it was crazy because I remember tons of people at the time telling me that I was off my rocker wanting to convert to a lot of things virtual. Which, interestingly, during the pandemic, I had a lot of people reach out to me and go, you know those ideas that you had? I think they're great ideas. I will tell you, one of the organizations that I got to interact with said that they figured out that once we put everything together, it was a multi-million $1 idea for them. So even though my timing when I brought it up seemed terrible in regards to doing it, because we weren't having the pandemic issues that we eventually had. So I wasn't saying that I knew, it wasn't like I had this planned out in regards, I know that this is going to happen, but it was just the timing worked out later on. But at the time, I had a hard time understanding it of how can you not see what I'm seeing? But here's the things at times. Sometimes we get so frustrated inside of our organizations that it's just like, how can you not see this? How can you not see that it's there, that we need to move forward with this stuff? And that's the difficult part at times. It is so difficult at times to be able to sit there and go, this makes sense, let's move forward. And that's the thing. I'm not saying sit on the pine for years and let other things pass you by. But sometimes we have to take a look back and go, okay, sometimes we have not prepped the road. We have not developed the things that we need to in regards of getting things done. So we're going to have to hold back a little bit before we're able to move forward. And believe me, I know that that's some of the most difficult things to do. It's not easy. It's not an easy task. But at some points, you have to prep. At some points, you have to make sure that the people around you are as ready as you are, opposed to just jumping in and going, okay, we're set, let's get moving. Not the way that it goes. So what can you do during this time? Be patient. The most difficult thing that somebody can probably tell you. It's like telling somebody who's upset, calm down. But you have to look at it and go, they're not ready yet, so let's build the road together to get there. And sometimes that's the portion that we talk about. It's building that plan backwards. It's building that plan on where you want to get to, getting that plan built on what you want to do, but building it out correctly, opposed to just jumping in head first and going, no. This is going to work without having enough information. Think about it real quick. Think about it that if you actually put the time inside of building something out, it worked the program backwards and getting that started out, how things will be different for you. Now, I have one of these feelings that this conversation is going to come back to haunt me the next time that I offer up something to somebody where they go, you remember that conversation that you had? I have that funny feeling that it's going to work out that way. But anyways, this is my thought for today in regards to what we're talking about here during the main story. But you know how that goes. We talk about a little bit of everything, opposed to it just being whatever I'm just thinking. So there you go.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
It's a new year, but it's feeling harder than ever to find and hire qualified people you need, especially for small businesses. That's where LinkedIn Job comes in. They make it easier to find people you want to talk to faster and for free. You can create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of the most qualified people. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering qualified hires versus leading competitors. I have to tell you that we have used LinkedIn Jobs to even find some of the people that we have here at Safety FM. LinkedIn Jobs can help you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your jobs for free on linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to tell them that you heard it right here on Safety FM.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
If the knife's not sharp, a peace of mind, I've taught my dogs to bark. Oh, guilty or not, you're spreading, let me steer you. Now let me steer you while you shoot. What's the essence in every lesson? When uphill is a blessing, what's the essence?
Okay, there you go. 42 minutes past the top of the hour. Yeah, this one's called Telephone. This song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. This is by Blood Red Sun. Thank you to Blood Red Sun for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Okay, a little bit, some of that older throwback is what it sounds like there. Then it kind of just does that little move.
Come around, lay down your telephone. Oh, we don't know, we think we're broken or alone.
So there you go. There you go. There you go. Anyways, let's continue moving and grooving as we are hanging and banging on this lovely Monday, doing the things that we get to do together. Anyway, so let me tell you the most important thing that I'm ever going to tell you. You know that. You might have heard it before. You might hear it again. You're going to hear me say it probably several thousand times over in regard to this. But let me tell you about my friends at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences from people in your local community whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to afsp.org. That is afsp.org, or call 1-800 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741. So there you go. Seriously, you never know when you might need this information yourself. You never know if somebody else you know might need the information. So it's good to have this in your arsenal of stuff. Because here's the thing. This conversation, sometimes people put some terrible stigma with it, and there is nothing bad about this conversation. People do struggle from time to time with mental health, with suicidal thoughts, and it's something that we need to talk about, not sometime, but all the time. Seriously, something to talk about as we are hanging. Anyways, as we continue moving forward about some things that are going on inside of this lovely world of ours, because it's always a good time to talk. Anyways, things that we lose sleep over, and I'll talk about some of those. What are the most common reasons for not getting a good night's sleep besides Monday morning? The biggest causes of restlessness sleep include feeling stressed, fretting over finances, or the temperature of not being right. A study of 2,000 adults found that 38% of people suffer from poor sleep because of an uncomfortable mattress, and 36% complain that their partner is snoring. Sleep can also be disturbed by traffic noise, light coming through the window, caffeinated drinks before bedtimes, mobile phones are also the culprit, with social media being blamed 14% of the time, video games by 12% of the time, reading on devices by 13 to 18% of the time. 18% of the time they said their partners have worsened, their patterns have worsened since they started the pandemic, perhaps due to feeling more worried and anxious. But many people also said that their quality of sleep has improved, possibly because they invest more time in their bedtime routine, because they are now able to sleep later thanks to working from home. I tell you what ruins my sleep. Well, it would be my alarm. That would definitely ruin it. I have a piece of appliance that's telling me when I need to get up. And what's not, what no one blamed their kids. That's sort of the go-to place for most. I mean, think about it. If you do have a younger child, all of a sudden they start crying in the middle of the night. Guess who's getting their ass up? Well, I would imagine that you are.
Duh.
Anyways, that's something to think about as we are talking on this lovely Monday, 46 minutes past the top of the hour. Anyways, more than meets, not that kind of meats, but meets the eye. Wild Type, a California-based startup, is creating a sushi-grade salmon by cultivating cells extracted from salmon eggs. The cells grows from steel vessels, spreading over plant-based mesh and amphibious tissue. Process is faster than the aquaculture and the produces no waste since its edible parts are grown. They're a long way from before the futuristic food becomes common, but it's hopefully prospects for fish population and the ecosystem sushi lovers alike. Salmon is the world's largest single fish commodity by value, but overfishing has slashed the salmon price. So there you go. That reminds me when people were talking about that there was protein issues, that we need to go to different protein alternatives, and crickets became a big thing on protein bars. And I'll tell you, I had quite a few protein bars with crickets, and it was kind of funny because I would share them with people and be like, hey, take a bite of this, what you think, blah, 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 and not tell them anything about the crickets until afterwards, and they would freak out that it was crickets opposed to during, which they didn't really taste like anything, but that's just me. Anyways, food technology company Primal Foods plans to launch an entire margarine of exotic meat. Yeah, what? How can it be margarine of exotic meats that didn't actually come from animals, including lion burgers, tiger nuggets, and giraffe ham? As food companies continues to come up with ingenious ways of capitalizing on growing meat alternative markets, the London-based startup has announced its plan to sell exotic meats cultivated in a laboratory. No animals are hurt in the process of growing lion, tiger, or elephant's meat in a laboratory, as they are actually grown from cultivated cells. And your kid might finally eat something besides chicken nuggets. I mean, think about how weird that would be. You're cultivating food inside of a lab. I mean, how is it going to get weird? I mean, I'm just asking. I don't know. I think it sounds weird, but it could get weird. Doesn't mean that it will be weird, but it could get weird. You know what I'm saying? I say all these things to say, there is some weirdness to it. Let's just not lie about it. I love when my email locks me out mid-show when I can't do anything and I'm trying to read something. So let's see if it lets me back in. So let's continue talking, because now I am going to be lost in a romance, a wilderness of pain. That is for sure. Taking a look. I think we need to do this. I think we need to bring in John Smalls right away and do the Motivation Minute. So let's do that right now.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Sandy. Thomas Edison said, "The best thinking has been done in solitude. The worst has been done in turmoil." Sad, but true. Usually, we rush into a solution when we have problems happening. Sometimes we need to take a step back and quit thinking about the problem. Then the solution falls into our lap. I've done this so many times. Working around the clock to fix something. Then take a quick break to get lunch or dinner, and boom, have the revelation that I should have had hours before. My advice? Take a break once in a while. This could even include a vacation to get a long ways away once in a while. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by alasamorgan.com. Are you a big tea drinker? If you are, you will be happy to hear that scientific studies continue to generate evidence in support of long-lasting benefits of tea consumption, and one of them is for cognition. It was shown that regular tea consumption was associated with a 50% lower risk of cognitive decline and an 86% lower risk in people with APOE4 allele who are genetically at risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. This was true for green, black, and oolong tea. The bioactive compounds in tea leaves, including catechins, flavins, pipergines, and L-theanine, have anti-inflammatory and antioxidant activity, which may lower vascular damage and protect the brain from neurodegeneration. Consuming tea may be one of the easiest ways to integrate wellness into your routine. For additional information, check out alasamorgan.com.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
So I wonder if teabagging counts inside of that as the same thing. I mean, I just don't know. I figured I'd ask the question because who the hell knows? Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world. What do we want to take a look at here? Let's see. Ryan Cabrera, 39, and wrestler Alexa Bliss marry over the weekend at age 30. The couple tied the knot at a non-traditional rock star themed ceremony at Kempa Villa in Palm Desert, California on Saturday. The pair got engaged back in November of 2020. So there you go. There's some info for you. Should we talk about the swamp? Let's talk about the swamp for a moment. Let's talk about this. America's governor is what it says. Ron DeSantis' re-election campaign has hit a major milestone for the governor's race. He racked up $100 million in his war chest strictly from donations. Only two previous candidates for governor are believed to have done the same thing. J.B. Pritzker in Illinois and Meg Whitman when she ran in California, but they both chipped in millions of their own cash. So there you go. Here's CBS News / YouGov polls Biden's handling of various issues. On crime, 61% disapproval. On immigration, 62% disapproval. On the economy, 63% disapproval. On inflation, 69% disapproval. It gets worse. A Rasmussen poll shows that the majority of voters say that President Joe Biden's presidency was hampered by the long-term progress of the country, while 62% said that the economy has gotten worse in the last 15 months. A striking 83% see the violent crime levels across the country as an important issue of November midterms. We're noting pretty bad news as a part of the champion of the movement of the police department payrolls in 2020. So I don't know. A lot of stuff going on there. And of course, when we talk about that kind of stuff, all we're talking about is polls. I used to talk about that with the previous president. We're talking about it during this current president. And I'm sure whoever's president next or after that and after that, we'll talk about them too, because that's what we do around here. Anyways, let's talk about the lottery real quick. No winner for Friday night's Mega Million drawing. Today's drawing will be for a $106 million jackpot or a $65.3 million cash payout. No winner for Saturday night's Powerball drawing either. Tonight's drawing will be for $288 million jackpot or $178.3 million cash payout. So there you go. There you go. There you go. We were going to talk about this. So here's the thing. Dwayne Haskins has died. The Steelers quarterback was reportedly jogging across South Florida highway when he was struck by a dump truck. It is unknown why he was walking on the highway. A traffic homicide investigation has been opened about the incident. He was 24. That just happened. So something to talk about. That was, like I said, it was trending over the weekend with everything going on. Sounds horrific in regards of everything that is going on there. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that we are talking about inside of this world. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. So if we're taking a look around, let's take a look. What do you want to take a look at? Let's take a look at 1993. 450 prisoners riot in Southern Ohio Correctional Facility. The inmates were irate about prison conditions and the forced vaccination of the Nation of Islam's prisoners to tuberculosis. Several inmates and one guard were killed. Rioters caused over $40 million in damages to the facility. The chaos ended after 10 days when the rioters surrendered. That happened back in 1993. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, I got some of those for you as well. So let's talk about them. That is Morgan Lilly, actress. She turns 22. Summer Walker, 26. Duncan Lawrence, 28. Marcus Johns, 29. Josh Stone, 35. Alexandria Ambrosi, 41. Matt Ryan, 41. Jennifer Esposito, 49. Goldust turns 53 today. Steve Azar, 58. Jeremy Clarkson, 62. Anna Maria Polo, 64. And Ethel Kennedy turns 94 today. That's birthdays that are going on today. If you're looking for a reason to celebrate today, I have some of those for you as well. Today's National Barbershop Quartet Day. Oh, the usual suspects. National Cheese Fondue Day. National 8 Track Tape Day, National Pet Day, and National Submarine Day. So there you go. Those are some days that you can celebrate if you're so inclined to do so. All celebrations, all things to do, all things to talk about, everything to enjoy. There you go. What else do we have? If you need some whack facts for today, I got some of those for you. According to a study, less than half of the words culture kiss romantically. Scooby-Doo character Shaggy's real name is Norville Rogers. The former home of Philadelphia Eagles veteran stadium featured a courtroom for handling rowdy fans. Scientists have found evidence to take out restaurants in the remains of the Pompeii. The first pair of Nike running shoes was made on a waffle iron. The entire surface of skin is replaced every month, which means that you'll have about 1,000 different sets of skins in your life. So there you go, some things that you did not know and probably didn't care to know. So now you know. Anyways, if you need a random joke for today, I got one of those. I received a lovely card saying, get better soon, which I found confusing because I haven't been sick. So should I tell my boss he made a mistake? If you need a phone starter for today, try this one. If someone came up to you and said, hey, do that thing you do, what's the first thing that would pop into your head? Well, I would say the Tom Hanks movie, wouldn't it? If you need something for the water cooler, try this. The average family show throws away 70 of these perfectly edible items every year. What are they? Bread, loaf, and crust. So there you go. Or the heels for some people. So there you go. That's what I got for you this morning. This has been the Rated R Safety Show going on right now on this lovely station for you. This lovely station for you. Anyways, if you want to come and hang out with me, I will be going over to radiobig.fm. If you want to come hang out and do all the fun stuff that we do, we'll listen to some music, sit together, and do some stuff. We can't do what we do here on Radio Big or Safety FM without you, the most important part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. No, there is no doubt about that for sure. So if you want to come and hang out, radiobig.fm to do that. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen. I really do appreciate it. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. Don't give up what you want most for what you want now. Don't give up what you want most for what you want now. Such an important thing to talk about. Seriously, think about it in that fashion. Anyways, thanks for taking a listen. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
Not for you.